Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 where I'm using the same fabric that I used last week to make something different. So if you want to see what I make and how I make it, just keep on watching. Also, hit that bell button so that you can be notified when I upload. And thank you all so much for subscribing and supporting me and just everything that y'all do. Thank you so much. Please keep on watching. Okay, today we are starting off with making our pattern, and to make the pattern we are taking an oversized sweatshirt. Well, I am, but you can take a long sleeve shirt or something that's a little bit bigger fitting than your regular shirts and stuff. And then here I'm taking the shoulder to the length I want measurement and marking that out and labeling it back. And here to make the front pattern on the same pattern, we're just drawing a curved line from the shoulder and marking that. And then to do the sleeve, we just lay out the sleeve matching up, mark it, and then using the shoulder to the length we want the sleeve to be measurement, we mark that here. I did 8 inches. And then we cut out our pattern. When we go to cut out our pattern pieces, to cut the front pieces, we just fold that little flat back, and then to cut out the back, we leave it straight. Now we're just cutting open our shirt. If you're using a shirt, if you're using fabric, then obviously skip this step. Laying our back pattern piece, cutting that out on the fold. Now laying our front pattern piece, which is just folding that little flat back and cutting that on the fold as well, but here in a second we're going to cut it open to make 2 pieces. And then now cutting the sleeve on the fold as well. And the other sleeve. Now I'm just laying out all the pattern pieces for you, just to show you what it kind of looks like a little bit. Okay, now we're making the binding, and this I'm making by just cutting long strips. Just a whole bunch of long strips. And mine are about 2 inches wide. And to make strips longer, you just sew them right sides together. I went ahead and already sewed these together, wrong sides together, and finished it with my serger. And now we're going to sew the shoulder seams together. Once we've done that, we're going to line the binding all the way around the front of this robe. And since I sewed them with wrong sides touching, it doesn't matter what side is touching the robe. Now we're going to sew that, and then we are going to top stitch it down after we finish. There we go. Now we're going to work on the sleeve, and we're taking a sleeve, we're going to fold it in half to find the center point and line that center point up with that sleeve seam, or the shoulder seam I mean, and then we're going to pin this and sew it. Ta-da! Now with the robe inside out, sew the side seams together, and to finish off the sleeve we're just rolling up twice, and we are going to tack this down, but I eventually went and sewed all the way around it because I didn't like how the little tack was making it unroll. And now the waist tie. The waist tie is going to be 6 inches wide, and I'm taking the waist measurement and timesing it by 3 in order to get the length I need. And I'm showing you that when you fold in half, it's 3 inches. Of course, we're going to put right sides together and sew it to make a longer strip. Now we're going to fold it in half with the right sides touching. And we're gonna sew all the way around it, leaving one end open to flip it right side out. Here we're flipping it right side out, and this takes a little while to do. Now we're gonna wiggle those seams in order to make sure it's out all the way. And then on the end that we left open, we're gonna have to fold that in on itself to be able to close it and top stitch all the way around this waist tie. And our waist tie is done. Now to put it on the robe, we're taking leftover binding and measuring that out on our waist tie and cutting out pieces, 3 pieces actually. And we're gonna fold them in half and sew it, and then we're gonna turn over the edges to be able to tack it onto this robe. And I'm showing you here how it goes in. I measured 10 inches up from the bottom of my robe in order to find a measurement that I want to place it at and make sure all of them was even. And now we're working on the ruffle by measuring the bottom of our robe and timesing that by 2 or 3, depending how thick of a ruffle you want. Of course, here we're taking our strips. We're putting right sides together to make longer strips. And now I'm going to show you how to finish off your edges without a serger. You're going to straight stitch, and then you're going to put your machine on your zigzag stitch and your widest stitch that you have. And finished. We have to finish off the top and the bottom of the ruffle just by folding under twice and sewing it. And here I'm going to show you an easy way to do a ruffle. You put your tension at 9, or the longest, or the biggest tension on your machine, and the longest stitch, and when you sew it already starts gathering for you. And I'm sorry that I didn't show you how to attach this ruffle to the robe. My machine started acting really weird. What you do is pin it right sides facing on your robe and sew it, making sure to backstitch. Can I show everybody your robe?
No.